Hi, I'm gonna do paint pour in a jar. I'm listening to Joe Rogan and Andrew Huberman. So that's what you hear in the background.
Yeah, he's a sicko. He's got a broken foot right now, and he's still running on it. And
yeah, he's got to get surgery. He can't have surgery right now because he has I had a long day. I've just been tired a lot lately. I just feel like really off a lot lately. But I finished a painting that I wish I would have put like a time lapse video or something. I'm not really sure how this one's gonna turn out, but I'm gonna try to do a pour on these large jars. They're big artichoke jars that I get from work, and I like doing like I'm starting to figure it out a little bit to make it work. I have to put something around the base. I got these plastic Chinese container bowls so I can tilt a little bit without having to touch the jar so much, and then it can cover the entire rim at the bottom here. And the last one I did turned out really nice, so I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna use black, and I put some cell strips in here and mixed it up. I'm going to use white, and I put some of the cell stuff in here. I also use this to put like a coating on here first that I've been doing to get it going. So it I don't know, it just feels right to put like a layer down. So it's mostly covered, so. And then I have this red that I mixed up with some cell, and I think it has the cell drips in it. I think it's vermilion red. Some gold, metallic gold. These are pre-mixed, these bottles. And I have this yellow that I'm going to use. And we're going to see. I did a candle jar. I look like shit right now, but I don't, whatever. It's late. And I just wanted to do one of these. I turned my desk in my room that I wanted to get rid of into my art desk. I couldn't move it on my own, and nobody was wanting to buy it. So I do have a heat gun I haven't used yet. So I may like touch it with this a little bit. I'm a little weary of it because it's glass, so I'd have to be like really careful. And I didn't plug it in yet. Nothing like getting paint on everything. Oh. So I have this under here. If you could just hang in here for a few more years, they're probably going to be able to fix things.
Yeah, exosomes are exciting. EPC 157, while only animal data, it's very
is that still good? Okay.
Has the propensity to
mostly. Alright. I'm sorry, it's not really a great setup, but I feel so tired today. Look at me. Okay, I'm gonna use this little handy dandy pour. This is what I used last time. And I'm gonna start layering the paint in here. Start with white. Some of my paints are still old. Like I went out and spent way too much money on paint today. But it was 40% off, so why not buy 3 times as much? Terrible. I bought a few extra tools for like couple brushes and a couple little spatulas. Forgive my ignorance if I don't know the right term. So, I don't know why I like painting these jars. I did get some canvases. I will be doing some canvases. So, handy dandy popsicle stick goes in my jar there. So I'm gonna do layer some white.
Most cost-effective way in terms of for the actual patient to treat them. No, it's how do I make the most money from this? Well, we did an episode on back health and strengthening the back and back pain with Steve McGill on, and it was wild.
And some yellow.
Emails and stuff like that. Like half of the people or more saying the McGill Big Three helped me so much.
Put it down this side. I'm gonna put it down this side. This little pour I took it from my iron that broke. Then I got this.
He basically is giving behavioral tools to stabilize.
Let's see. I want to do black next, I think. Or no. Maybe red. Red next.
Pseudoscience, and then everyone telling me how much benefit they got out of McGill's Big Three, and then the war among the physios, like the physios.
I don't know. Can you see that?
And I asked someone, why is this field of exercise physiology so brutal? I asked Andy Galpin, and it turns out it's because it's very hard to get a lot of clients. The moment that somebody comes out with knowledge,
throw some gold in here.
They're potentially taking away their livelihood. Right. So, to say nothing of the pain treatment world. We had a guy on our podcast.
Throw some black in here.
And he talks about the biopsychosocial model of pain, and he's very open-minded. Meds work in some cases. So does your emotional or cognitive interpretation of the pain. What does it mean? So do things like meditation. Like he's basically trying to incorporate all these different things.
White.
Very holistic, for lack of a better word. But if you look at most pain docs, they're not that.
That's kind of going through. Let's do some more red.
It might not be addictive, but they're not ever talking about strengthening the systems that gave away.
The white's heavy.
Right. So
I mixed water, Mod Podge, and the cell stuff with the white acrylic paint, and that's kind of where am I at here? Yellow.
There's nothing that can replace behaviors because our nervous system was evolved for these behaviors. Yeah. Yeah, listen, man, it's always a fascinating conversation with you. I appreciate you very much. I'm really glad you have your own podcast.
Some gold.
It's so popular, and I love it. I listen to it all the time. And you put out a lot of great information, man. Really appreciate you.
It is so hard to listen to everything and watch everything and do everything you want to do.
Through a bunch of different aspects of podcasting.
More black.
Discussions about health and exercise and forcing me to make my cold plunge a little colder. Let me sniff the smelling salt. All of it. I might be wrong about the cold. Yeah, I don't know. No, but really right back at you. There are very few places in the world where you can have a real discussion.
The white's going straight to the bottom, so I don't know what we're going to run into. But there's a lot of paint here. I have an extra jar just in case. But we're going to see how this works out. All the white sunk to the bottom. So we'll see. Here we go. And it's doing the same thing it did before. And it's
third truth is a political truth. Political
pouring
truth
down the side, which isn't fun.
Because it has been incessantly repeated. And then you just believe it at that point.
What?
I don't think there's enough red.
What's Hillary Clinton's first name? It's Crooked. Her first name is actually Hillary? Okay. I thought it was Crooked Hillary. This was incessantly.
I'm going to add more red right now.
Trump campaign. And that's an absurd example of it. But the point is, if you keep saying,
now all of a sudden we're listening to
fake news.
What's his name, Degrassi.
Eventually, people believe it. And
I'm gonna let you see the top of this.
Because the politicians repeated it.
So it's a political truth that people believe it, or it's a political truth because people believe it. Which one is it?
So again, you're trying to preserve the fundamental meaning of the word truth.
Yeah.
And I've just given up on that.
Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris had an infuriatingly frustrating podcast where they went over the meaning of the word truth.
We're gonna see what happens.
And like I said,
I'm gonna see if that's enough.
Philosophers like arguing, debating, meaning of things.
It might not
For
be.
me, it's however
I think I
people
need to
use
put
the word,
more.
that's
I don't know. All the white sunk to the bottom.
Well, you can
See.
it's why I don't call myself an atheist. It's why. You can look up the dictionary definition of atheist, and it kind of applies to me, but
I'm
what is the
gonna.
definition of atheist in practice?
It's
Is
a
what
pantheist. He's a
leading
pantheist.
atheists
He
do,
doesn't even
and
know
it's
it.
their conduct, and it's their behavior, it's what they say, and it's their attitude.
I'm
That is
gonna
what an
heat this
atheist is
up.
today, because they're the most visible exemplars of that word, and most of their conduct.
On low.
What simply don't read? What don't you read? I don't debate religious people and tell them to read. I don't whether or not it's work, it's not paying me to do that. I don't purge myself with words that have religious foundations in them. I once in my Facebook, I had a friend go up in Orbit to hear a public telescope, one of their customers, and I said, Godspeed. And then I gave the afternoon's name. People wrote in the thread that I thought you were atheist. I just said Godspeed. They said that maybe you do it? That was good. Okay, first of all, this writing,
There we go. It's doing something now.
the John Gray,
Alright.
every mission.
Well, that was interesting.
human being
I don't know if you saw
in
anything.
somewhere
but I can
there's
see
that reference in the
Top's looking like. That's gonna all fall though. Son of a biscuit.
The atheists who
You
are
see
arguing
that?
that I was using Godspeed as a phrase, they all have used the phrase goodbye, haven't they? See you later, goodbye. Where does
See
word
that?
come from?
So we're gonna
From
see
God be with you.
how that
It's a contraction of those three words. And why would you say
how
this?
this
You would
happens
say
here.
this to someone
No, it's
leaving the
mostly.
city
It's not
wall,
too bad actually.
where
It's
it's
looking
dangerous. Okay?
good.
Back in the city states, you're going to you're God be with you to bring protection for you between one city wall and another. Correct. So
Let's see
now,
what this side
what
looks
is the
like.
source of danger if you're going to space?
It's very
not
red and black.
alien space muggers.
Not a lot of
It
the
is
yellow
fact
came
that
through.
Space marauders.
Cool
It's
looking.
the fact that you have high speed, and high speed
There's some
is the
yellow
source
coming
of
out.
essentially any death of anything that's in motion. If you were part of that disaster, so Godspeed is like a space equivalent to God be with you.
Is that really
It's,
the origin?
I'm just saying.
But did they say that before there was space travel? Did they say Godspeed?
I don't know the actual origin of space travel, of the term. I don't know how far back it goes, but I do know it became common after John Glenn, because they're not going to say it to Yuri Gagarin because they were all atheists in the Soviet Union.
Right.
But here in America, Godspeed John Glenn, and I respect that tradition. And so I said that, and then they jumped. So if atheists are jumping on me for having said that, clearly I'm not an atheist. And ask me my favorite Broadway musical of all time.
What's your favorite?
Jesus
Broadway?
Christ Superstar. All right. So, and I still use BC and AD in my writings. Okay. I still do
You
it.
don't use BCE?
I don't use BCE. All right. Well, see, even you copping a tube right there, right?
Interesting.
I saw your face. You got the
Yeah,
camera. Did you see it?
interesting. It's interesting.
That's a grassy guy. It's weird, huh?
BCE. which
This is pretty nice looking.
I'm going to tell you. So BCE, as you know, stands for Before Common Era.
Right.
I do wish there was some more yellow in it,
So this is D.
but I'm gonna let it be what it is, and I might be able to get two
Right.
Okay.
cores.
Of course, they reference the same calendar.
Right.
Okay. Well, who invented
Out
the
of-
calendar we all currently use in modern society? It's called the Gregorian calendar. It was invented by the Catholic Church, by Jesuit priests in the 1580s, assigned by Pope Gregory to fix the problems in the calendar because
It's a little messy.
Okay. Screen, get crazy.
I gotta calm down.
I'll bring you coffee.
The Julian
I just
calendar
absolutely love doing this because it just always looks so cool when it's done, when it happens right.
Okay. It had a leak there.
I guess I'm gonna have to help it right there, just like you do on a canvas. Just kind of dab
This
it.
was good.
So
Because what are
it'll
we
come
trying to
down.
say? We're trying to, the Earth goes around the sun. And so we say, all right, how long does that take? Well, it takes a year. But it turns out we're not actually tracking how long it takes Earth to go around the sun. We're tracking how long it takes Earth to repeat its seasons. And the year that corresponds to our seasons is slightly different from the year that corresponds to how long it takes to go around the sun. Slightly different. And that difference was not recognized in the early calendars. And that difference accumulated.
So now, what I need is that spatula that I bought today. And I can't touch my... Everything's so messy. I thought I left it out. I guess I put it away.
If you don't match
Shit.
the cycles of things. And the Pope said, we're not having any of this, especially since
My
Easter
back's
might land on
like
Passover.
wanting to go out. I can feel it. It just wants to go out.
Jews. So let's fix this.
Because I haven't been exercising enough.
They looked at the cycles of the heavens, the sun, the moon, the
I'm sorry about the angle. I wish I had better angle for you. I can't touch the phone right now.
To jumpstart, to put the first day of spring back on March 21st. Then this happened in October 1584.
Ooh,
Why is there
it's so pretty.
So now how much rent do you
It's
pay?
so pretty.
Amortized rent. Yeah, because
I'm gonna go wash my hands.
20 days instead of 30. Did they have to figure that out? Okay?
I'll be right back.
Point is, this was hard-earned, and the whole world uses this calendar. It is the most accurate calendar ever devised. Is it? Yes, I'll tell you what. Okay, you asked. So watch what happens. The leap day overcorrected the calendar. It overcorrected. Overcorrected. Yes. Yes.
So you need a leap year.
So the leap day is every 4 years. That one day every 4 years was slowly putting too many days into moments into the year. Okay? The Gregorian calendar figured this out. And it had put 10 extra days since the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar. 10 extra days. First, jumpstart. Get rid of the 10 days. Now everything's lined up again.
Okay.
Now, how do you prevent this from happening again?
Woo-wee! I have an
How
idea.
long do you have to wait?
I have an idea. Bear with
Remove
me.
a leap day that you would otherwise put in.
Don't know if this will work or not.
Okay.
That's every 100 years.
Oh.
So every 100 years, that would be a leap day, you remove the leap day.
Oh.
Now it turns out that undercorrects it
Oh.
by an even smaller amount. Okay? So, how long do you have to
Let's
wait
see.
before you have to put a leap day back in? Every 400 years.
Oh God.
Well, my hands are a little cleaner now, so
The year 2000
let's see.
was a century year, which normally would not have a leap day.
I put another light on,
It's a
but
century year
it's
evenly
I couldn't
divisible
move
by
it.
400, so they put
yet.
the leap day back in. And everybody on February, almost everybody except the astronomer, on February 29th in the year 2000 said it's just a leap year because it's divisible by 4. No, it is a rare leap year. It is a century year divisible by 400. That corrects it back, and so now you have a stable calendar for tens of thousands of years. I gotta give props to the Jesuit priests. I'm not gonna say, no, I'm taking the Christianity out of this reference, because they figured out the calendar that we all use, and it's a fucking awesome calendar. Sorry to drop that bomb. So, I'm not, just because some atheists are telling me to rid God out of everything in the universe, I'm not doing that. I'm going to say, they came
Not
up with
bad,
this
huh?
calendar.
Boy, I don't even know if you can see everything. It'll change though because it'll keep dripping. It keeps dripping down into that. So eventually it's going to look a little different than what it looks like right now. So it always changes from the original pour.
There's no year zero. You know why there's no year zero? Because the Romans came up with the calendar and they counted using Roman numerals.
And I'm going to use a heat gun one more time.
It was not yet invented.
This is interesting.
No! So it went from 1 BC to AD 1. BC before Christ, AD is Anno Domini in Latin, the year of our Lord. Now, of course, in
Now there's cells forming. Lots of white speckles. I don't know if I like it or not on this. But
Chinese calendar dates to
I don't know. I'm testing it out.
alignment. in 4,000.
Seeing what I like
BC.
when it comes to the jars, because it's a little different than
And the Hebrew calendar dates to like the beginning of the universe.
a little different.
As interpreted in the.
So that turned out kind of
So
cool.
they have access to those, but when they're conducting
There's like a
international
little
business, we just simply
indentation
use
right
the
there
Gregorian calendar. Just get
that I
on.
wanna
Do they use it in China? Do they use it constantly and consistently, or do they alternate between the Gregorian calendar and something else?
I'm not a Chinese expert, but from what I know of China and my friends and colleagues, for conducting business, the world's business is conducted on the Gregorian calendar, with the 12-month calendar, with the year as referenced by everybody else.
And does it have to be done that way in terms of like, has anyone ever done a study on possibly creating a more effective, more accurate calendar that doesn't invoke leap years and?
The problem is the length of the day does not cut evenly.
just to make sure it's all covered here.
So there'll always be fractions of days that you're accumulating.
Right.
And then what do you do with them? You wait till you accumulate a day and you put it in or take it out.
What are the Mayans?
There's
They have a lunar cycle calendar.
The
Let me see.
calendar is based on Venus, and so yeah, they had a really good calendar.
Yeah, it was a.
It was overstated that it was like really accurate calendar.
Overstated?
It was overstated. It was good, better than anything that came before it.
I want to
No,
tilt
no,
it a little
Gregorian calendar.
this
People love
way.
bullshit, though.
They do, and they want to believe that
Especially
people
Oh
who,
shit, I touched
you
it.
know, they want to believe
touched
that people
the glass.
5,000 years
Son
ago
of a
somehow
biscuit.
knew more about the universe than we do today.
Yeah.
Just no.
Why is that? Why do they want to believe that?
I think, I don't know. For me, that's one of the great puzzles of life. Why do people want to believe that the Egyptians somehow had some access to the universe?
Well, they knew
That
some.
They, of course!
They definitely knew how to build some incredible shit.
Of course!
But that
Of
alone,
course, I would take that away from them.
doesn't the physical, just the presence of these incredible buildings, leave the possibility that maybe they had some knowledge that we lost?
Lost knowledge is a real thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to belittle or diminish the significance of real knowledge. We forgot how to draw in perspective, from ancient times. Had to be rediscovered as I understand from the artists, had to be rediscovered in the Renaissance. The archway, the Roman arch had to sort of be rediscovered, okay? So, yes, you can lose knowledge. But if you look at the knowledge we have gleaned using the modern methods and tools of science that go far beyond our five senses in our access to the world, to say that somehow they knew something
I'm trying to cover
that
this
we don't using our
one
tools, that's
spot
just,
here
sorry,
that I
That's
feel
just-
like
it's just,
I don't like.
it's not possible.
But
We know the physiological limits of your ability to know what's going on around you.
right.
And then people say, I have a sixth sense. Fine. But as a scientist, I have dozens of senses.
Right.
Okay, I can measure things that your five senses can't. I can measure the magnetic field around you, the electromagnetic field,
There
how
we
much
go.
microwaves are coursing through your body. We have no sensors for
I
this.
keep touching the bottom of the glass.
Fine. I can
It'll
see
it'll
other
eventually
things
drip
that
down
are affecting your body.
where
I can tell you
it'll
if
cover
ionizing
everything,
radiation
but I don't
is
want to do it
passing
too
through
much because
I
I'll.
can do that.
Shit.
You can't. Oh, you'll eventually learn when you're exposed to ionizing radiation because you'll get cancer of your organs and your limbs fall off.
All right, I concede that we know far more today
Yes.
than perhaps, no, not even perhaps, than at any other time
Yes.
in conceivable history.
Yes.
But it is possible that they knew some things, like how to build a pyramid,
Yes.
that we really just don't understand today.
I don't know what it means to not understand how to build a pyramid today. We have
Well, we have
150-story buildings.
So we do
We're not thinking about
different
pyramids.
stuff.
I can tell you this. Do you know what the first thing that
We should be thinking about pyramids.
ever? No. That's only part of the sentence. Sorry. I love your enthusiasm. My sentence only barely came out of my mouth. The tallest thing humans built after the pyramids.
I think it's a building in Dubai.
No. So in other words, what's the
Pyramids
next
now?
tallest thing after the pyramids?
Oh, right after.
Yeah. What is the next tallest thing we built? Stable structure after the pyramids.
What?
The Eiffel Tower.
Really?
Yes. 89, 1870, late 1800s in Paris. The
Oh,
Eiffel Tower.
that side's coming down too, so
That was
that's
the
gonna
first
change.
Stable structure we built.
Yep, it's gonna
as a
change.
civilization that was taller than the pyramids. So the Egyptians knew architecture.
This is
They
cool.
knew. No one's taken that away from them. But to claim they have some secret knowledge of the functionings of the universe, no.
Okay.
Well,
So now
saying that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're
I
gonna
am
TV.
But
done
the fact that they didn't have steel,
pouring
and the
this.
fact
I'm gonna
that
do another
they're
one
dealing with,
because I have lots of
very-
paint
Very most recent,
left over.
2500 BC, they built.
You just have to
I'm gonna
be more
lift this up. I have plastic all over here.
than we
I'm
otherwise
gonna
would
let
have to
this
be. Yeah.
sit there for a couple days and that's gonna dry.
Those rocks are nowhere in the region.
Now I have all this
They
extra
were
paint.
carted from some. They found a place where those rocks were would have been mined, removed, and yeah, those are some big ass rocks.
Yeah, as are the ones that it's not less impressive because they're just big. Like what the thing.
And it's a
about
completely
pyramids
different
is
pattern
the
once you
precision and the sheer
get all that
numbers.
paint
2 million,
scraped together.
600,000 stones.
Our best understanding of Stonehenge
Look at
is
that.
that it's a functioning observatory that can actually predict eclipses. So,
But anyway,
again,
that could be
that's
used
good.
if I wanted to. If I was done, I just wanted to kind of clean this up a little bit. Put the next jar in here. So that used like half of this.
They have-
I'm gonna do another big one.
Stones, but they're 56 holes, which is 3 times
I have another big one
the
saved.
Saros, which is the cycle of eclipses, of the matching of the orbits of the sun and the moon.
And I'm
in the
gonna
sky,
put the
patch
white
of the
layer
sun and
on
the moon in the
here.
sky. And when they match up, you get an eclipse.
Is
It's
it
an eclipse
possible?
observatory. A guy named
That's absolutely what it is.
There's a book published in the 1970s by a guy named David Dawkins. It's not Richard Dawkins, but it's another
Might
one.
put a little bit more yellow.
Richard Hawkins. Richard Hawkins? Hawkins. Damn.
One of them dudes.
Damn. Oh, we got our top crack researchers here.
James on the ball.
Just look up, the title of this book was Stonehenge Decoded. Just look up the title of that book. Anyhow, it's highly convincing and we're all there with it. There's
So
no...
it's essentially just
Okay,
a
gotta
study
stay away
of the
from
position
that.
of the stones in
Now I'm gonna,
relationship to the where the Gerald Hawkins.
Yeah, Stonehenge Decoded.
Put white
So he
on here.
visited Stonehenge as a kid at age 15 on an expedition, and he was the expedition head.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
How lucky for you.
yeah, it was good, and that stuck with me, which is why I named this phenomenon.
Just
in
wanna
Manhattan,
do
where the
most-
sun sets along
most
the
of
sun.
this
I saw that.
white.
I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah. So,
For, like, a
so
base
I named
coat.
it Manhattanhenge, sort of harkening back to my early days, thinking about the alignment of the sun and structures that we might build. So twice a year, for those viewers or listeners,
Being
who
a
don't
little
know,
bit more
twice a
quick
year,
about
the
it.
Manhattan street grid, which is not perfectly aligned north-south. The Manhattan
I'm
street
making a
grid
big old mess here.
the sun will set exactly on the grid. And what's up there now, that image, what's not obvious, is that picture is taken along a street that is itself 3 miles long, and then you're crossing the Hudson River, and then there's New Jersey on
Sometimes
the
I
other side.
tap to get
So people try to zoom in on it, but what you really should do is zoom out from it, and then you get the vanishing point on it. So yeah, all those are zoomed in. Let's go to that one looks more like my photo. Wait, go back to that other one. Yeah, see, so that's on 34th Street.
Oh
the
well, I
one you
still
see
can
now.
make sure it's on
And
there
then you
real
get
good.
this sparkling effect. That happens twice a year.
Okay.
Twice a year.
That sort of crazy wild light effect
Yes.
that looks
Yes.
photoshopped almost.
Yeah.
There's an image on his Instagram that is linked on my Instagram. The most recent photo.
Oh, okay. There it goes.
Oh, there's you with the selfie.
That's the selfie.
Look
Right,
at
okay,
you.
so come on down.
Powerful afro.
Oh yeah, that's
Strong.
that was my first
How old were
selfie.
you?
I was 14. Let me see. It was probably 1974.
Wow.
So I would have been 15. I think I've been 14 or 15.
So your path of curiosity was set
Oh, it goes
very,
back. That goes back.
very early.
Right. But that's not what we're looking for here. Let's go. But that one. Thank you.
All right.
So
We're almost
that-
there.
There's another one.
I'm trying to use as much
The river's wild.
as
Zoom
this
back out,
white
you
as
see all the
possible
pictures
for the coverage.
there. Go to the bottom left. There you go. Okay. That might be the first ever Manhattanhenge photo.
What
Okay.
year is that from?
I
It doesn't
took
have
that
to be
in-
perfect.
2001.
Right, and it got published in 2002.
This is before September 11th. This is July 11th.
I took it before September 11th, right. And then I had a means to publish it. And right then, notice that it's a green light and traffic is ready to knock me over. So no one is in the streets doing this, but now there are tens of thousands of people that pour into the streets on these days. We post what they get in Manhattan from the American Museum of Natural History, my day job, and then that goes out, the press gets it, and tens of thousands of people spill into the street, blocking traffic.
All
And
right.
you can think of all the ways traffic gets blocked in
We're
your day.
almost there.
Yeah.
See how the second one turns out.
Oh, there's too many of them.
Try and get some more yellow.
That's right, yeah, so that's what it has become.
Holding up phones.
And it's all because I went to Stonehenge, yeah. So it's also an observatory.
So was it you that named this?
Yeah,
Damn, check it out.
coined, I would say coined.
Coined it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Manhattan Henge. Because the buildings are like henges. The henge is a stone, it's a vertical stone. There's a vertical structure, and if you make a stone, it's a stone henge.
Why isn't it possible to construct a calendar that doesn't have leap years?
What you would have to do, you could do it, but what would happen is, it means you care more about the year than you do about the day. So what would happen is, you would celebrate the new year at like 3 in the afternoon,
Ah.
right? And then the next year you'd celebrate it at like 12 minutes after 3 in the afternoon. And then 20 minutes, you would.
Okay,
you
I
would-
think
it would
that's
sort of
gonna be good
move
enough.
Through your calendar. And then that means you care more about the year, you care more about the, did I say that right?
Yeah.
We always want to celebrate New Year's on midnight, and by the way, New Year's is celebrated in 24
I guess I
time
could
zones,
just
not
use
all
my
at the same time.
fingers.
Right.
So it's interesting, everyone thinks of that as
I'm already
a moment.
all painty.
Yeah, it's really a calendar event. I'm sorry, it's a clock event. It's celebrated over 24 hours.
Yeah, if you're in Thailand, it's 14 hours difference.
So
Might be
therefore,
getting a
if
little
you were
extra
doing
messy than I should be.
astrophysically, you would know the exact moment where we return in our orbit, and everybody would celebrate
That's what
that.
gloves are for.
And that would be, so then the whole
That's what
world
they're
would
made
celebrate the New
for.
Year at the same time. It means you value it differently. It's not a midnight celebration. It's a, you could do that.
Celestial
It's
celebration.
So,
celestial, yeah.
pardon the background, but I mean,
So
I
that would be the only way?
like to listen
Yeah,
to
that's
stuff
the only
while
way.
I'm
A day doesn't cut evenly
doing
into the
this, and
year.
then I made a
Those
last
two
minute
have nothing to do
decision.
with one another. There's
to
no reason
record
why
it.
that would happen. So we
Because why not?
so in other words, let me say it another way, just because you're looking like you're.
All right.
you're
That's
looking all
pretty
precise
good.
here.
I don't think it has to be perfect
There's New
because
Year's.
it's the pour.
Okay,
This is just to
let's
help
count
it slide down.
365 days. When we do that,
I haven't figured out.
we are
I haven't
not
figured out a better reason that I
at
do
the
it.
same
So
place we were
that's
when we
what
last
it's for.
celebrated New Year's Day, New Year's Eve. Okay.
We're not at the same place.
Just to
Okay,
have a
so
base.
Orbit, a revolution.
Around the
Okay,
sun.
you rotate on an axis, you revolve around something else. That's those 2 words.
Okay.
How you use
This
those 2
rack
words.
is
So we're not in the
designed.
same place, but we celebrate. New
Okay,
Year's.
here we go.
Well, when will we be in
The
same
fun
place?
part. Oh,
A quarter of
almost
a
dropped
day,
that paint.
6
Put that
hours.
in there for now.
So we would celebrate
All
the
right,
next New Year
we're
at
gonna
6 a.m.
Nobody's going to do that.
Go ahead
And the
and
next
pour
New Year
this.
at noon. Then the next New Year at 6 p.m.
I'm sorry you can't
and
see
the
it
next
better.
New Year kind of aligns back again. Well, that's the leap day. That's the 4th
I'm
year.
gonna
we
do
had
like a
planned.
rotate. Oh yeah, look at that. We got more
See?
gold
So
in
it's
this
our
one.
love of the day
Yes.
that keeps us
Yeah.
fucked up with the world when it comes to the year.
I'm gonna rotate it around,
You pick one.
wiggle it
and then
around,
That's how you do it.
wiggle it.
And what
Just
the line
a
is based
little
on the
bit.
moon, right?
I didn't, you know, I didn't
All right.
study
Oh,
the
we made some
calendar
green.
as deeply as I
Look
should
at that
have
shit.
wanted
See,
to,
you never
especially
know.
back in 2012
You never
when
know.
everyone said, "Oh, the Mayan
I have a
calendar runs out, so
feeling-
therefore it's the end of the
That's
world."
what I was thinking.
Whoop. Whoop.
I was thinking it was the end of the world.
Because the Mayans said so.
Holy
The Mayans
shit,
said
look
so.
at that. Completely different.
When, you know,
You see that?
before that had happened,
Completely
it was,
different
George
from the
Bush was
same
president
pour.
in 2007, and everybody was thinking, Jesus, this is going to be the end.
Oh, so every decade there's somebody predicting.
Look at
the end
that.
of the world. Sure. I'm actually quite entertained by this exercise.
Do you remember when they had billboards all around
Yes.
LA just a
Well,
few years
no,
ago?
that's a different end of the world.
Oh,
That's
it's a
a
different
guy with a radio podcast church. That
Wow.
and then the underworld didn't come, and so he pushed it forward. So it's entertaining. We live in a free country. It's evidence that we live in a free country where freedom of speech is protected and you can practice any religion you want.
Right.
They didn't learn much science in school.
That's a part of it.
That's part of the fact that you have
Look
this
at that.
world. I don't mind.
Same
it.
pour,
It's
completely
fun,
different.
Entertaining, but It becomes an issue if people such as that gain power over legislation, over the rest of us. Because this would count this as a personal belief.
Completely
It's a
different.
personal belief that
You
we're
would
gonna
never
have on
think
October 19th.
that this came
That's
from
your
the same.
period. Fine.
Look at that
But
shit!
if you now create laws,
Look at that!
I go with that. You just impose your personal
I am
belief.
so amused.
And your personal belief is not.
Because I let it marinate. I think that
everyone.
gold and red and something made it
And
green.
objective truth is true for
Gold
everyone.
and
So
the
if
red, I
you're gonna
guess.
If you're going to have governance, you're going to want to base governance on what is objectively true. Because it would apply to everyone, independent of your belief system.
Look at that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And by the way, there are things that we're not sure are true yet, that we're still researching. That's not what I'm talking about as an objective truth. Objective truth have been verified by multiple scientific studies.
Kind of wiggle it a little. I like this one part.
This was the problem with
Kind of wanted
the
to
cholesterol study.
get in
There's
there.
a cholesterol study that set everybody on the course
I
to
like
drop
that.
their cholesterol levels. Okay? Saying
All
it would
right.
be good for your heart and all the rest of it.
So easy too. Like once you get it going,
Where they have
once it's like
longevity
dripping,
and low heart
down.
disease and low cholesterol intake. That study happened to leave out France. That happened, it just wasn't in the study. And a couple of other places that have high cholesterol intake, but don't have higher heart disease. So that study was flawed. But it was hard to replicate it because it went over many years and it was thousands of people, and so everyone just jumped on it. You don't have a scientific truth, and this is a general problem with medical results, because the press is waiting at the journal editor's office. Oh, here's a new study that shows that this gives you cancer. Oh, that must be true, and out comes the headline because you want to be the first to report it. And then that gets emblazoned in people's heads, and not everyone reads the follow-up.
Exactly.
No one could duplicate that study. So there's a flaw. We don't even know what the flaw is. We know that no one else could get those results.
I like
So,
that.
It goes in the dustbin of scientific
I like
research.
them all,
Most research
but it's
in any
so cool
journal
that like
at the moment,
I still have enough for the small jar.
that's the bleeding edge of science.
Okay, now I have to go wash my hands again, and then I'm gonna run the heat gun on it real
You
quick.
can't look up in the back
Make
of the
some
book
cells
what the
pop.
answer is to double check. You don't even know what the question is to ask half the time. Oh.
But it's very frustrating for people that don't get it. And
Correct,
especially
but it's
because you have
exciting.
to-
It's exciting for the scientists.
It's exciting for
Yes.
knowledge,
Yes.
period. It's constantly expanding and growing. But it's very frustrating for people that really don't have the time and, maybe did get some outdated nutrition knowledge.
Or they need an
20
answer
years
right now.
ago.
They need an answer
Yeah,
right now, and religion in many ways gives you answers right now
yeah.
without the need to research it or to go on the frontier.
The lack of education and the lack of curiosity about it is one of the scariest things about new generations of kids, right? Like when the new generations are coming up, if they know less than the
look at
generation
this.
before, that's when we really
That's
start
my
to
dog
That'd
Beena.
be a problem. Although I have good confidence in the
Got another
30
rag.
and under generations.
These are so pretty.
Millennials have only ever known.
Oh, those cells popped immediately. I don't even know if I want to hit it with all the. I don't even know if I like it or not with the cells. I'm not sure. But I started doing it, so I gotta go all the way around.
They embrace it because it has shaped the civilization that has enabled their social life.
It has, but
Pretty crazy.
one of the things that I tweeted, I think it was from Scientific American yesterday.
I'm still figuring everything out. I only put the cell stuff in the white and the black. So maybe I needed to put it in with the colors.
Have a strong belief
I'll have to look it up and watch some more videos.
They look great.
But oh,
then
this is
things stick to the
broken.
bottom.
That needs
Metal?
Okay.
that needs fixed
metal
right
coating?
there.
Yeah, see?
What the hell is that?
Sticks, yeah, that's the issue. It sticks when it gets moisture.
I don't like
You know
it
about
because
history?
it's
You
too
put this over and tip it over, and then-
too popped. So sometimes I'll scrape
you know,
a
the-
pattern
what-
from the
this
bottom
is set, yeah.
Oh, 'cause
and
of
try to
pressure.
lay it in there
Okay.
But
if it looks too gappish. Like it's too much of a gap.
Objective truth
64% of what?
of millennials are not, or only 64% are convinced that the world is a ball. The world is a circle. That the world is what is it? A spheroid? Is that what it's called? Oblique.
I mean, I'd like to see how that question is asked.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if they know that we are oblate, and the thing is asking, is Earth a ball? They'll say, no, we're an oblate ball. We're
Well,
slightly wider below the equator than at the equator, so we're a pear-shaped oblate spheroid.
But it's not a pear that you would find normally. If you found that pear, you'd be like, this fucking pear that's shaped like a ball.
So these
Right.
differences in measurements are so small that if you found it on the ground, you would say this is a perfect sphere.
Right.
Let me tell you
That's
how
fine.
good a sphere it is.
Right.
All right, you ever see the schoolroom globes,
Mm-hmm.
the geographic globes, and you rub your finger over Nepal and you get the Himalayas.
It's so messy.
Yeah, you get the
So I
Rockies.
had a whole bunch of white paint
It is a gross
on the
exaggeration.
thing that I squirted out from
Do you
an
realize
old
if you
paint
took Earth, with all
thing
the
that I had to throw
valleys,
away. I had
hills,
like
and
clumps
shrunk it down
and
to the
I
size of a
forgot
cue
about
ball,
it, and
you'd be
so
smoother
now
than any
it's
cue ball
just
ever
all
machine.
over my plastic.
Yes.
But I'm pretty sure this one's done already.
Think about it. What? Think
That's
about it.
crazy.
Go, really? Go, chill. Listen.
That is
Ready?
crazy
Do you know the deepest part of
that
Earth's
it
crust?
is done that
The
fast.
Mariana Trench,
And then
off the coast of the
we
Philippines,
have,
in the Pacific Ocean.
That's the deepest part.
Deepest part goes 6 miles.
oh, here it is.
Oh, okay. So
We're gonna do this little jar.
Without digging.
Actually, you know what I want to do?
No, just.
I wanted to do a
access
can. I wanted to
the
do this
deepest
on a
part of Earth's crust,
canvas,
The lowest point on Earth's surface, the Marianas Trench.
but I don't have enough for a canvas
The
right
highest
now. I don't
point
think.
on Earth's surface.
I have a 12 by 12. I
The
could.
tip of
No, I don't have enough.
K1.
K2? Is it K1 or K2? Which one? Is it Japan?
I think it's K1.
Is
Well,
that
why would you name the tallest peak K2?
that's a good point?
I'm just.
Right.
I'm not a mountain climber, but I'm just thinking.
So now this
Like,
part
it's the
here
Himalaya Mountains.
Okay.
at
in
the
Nepal.
bottom of
Okay.
the
Isn't
plastic
it in Nepal?
cup.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's say, how high up is that? Well, it's 28,000 feet. So it's like 5 miles up. Okay.
Right.
Try to scrape some of
The
that off
distance
of there.
between the lowest point on Earth's surface and the highest point
It's
on
gonna
Earth's
keep
surface
dripping.
is 11 miles.
That's here at the comedy
I'm
store.
gonna pick that
That is
phone
less than
that
the
up
length
and
of
look at
Manhattan.
that.
Oh, yet we are
Crazy.
8,000 miles in diameter. And
Still
those 2
dripping
points
down.
are
It's gonna be
very far
stretching and
separated from
stretching.
one another.
Hopefully,
If you were a cosmic
not
giant
too
and
much.
You came up to Earth and you rubbed your finger over Earth's surface, it would feel as smooth as a cue ball to you.
Wow.
In fact, in this
There
in
is
this
something
book,
I
have a
was
chapter
using
called
to,
On Being Grounded,
Mm-hmm.
which is all about this. It's all about our perception of what is round
Let's
and what is
see.
not.
I had asked you to debate one of them flat Earth guys.
No, I don't. I can't. No.
I know. We talked about it, and we're gonna have him on Skype.
No, what we do is, and I think this is a diabolical plot, so that the next time we can shift people en masse into orbit, they all want to be first in line because they know we're going to send them, so that they can see around Earth. They're going to be the first ones in space, just so they can stop annoying the rest of us.
I don't think you're correct.
I think it's a,
I don't think you're correct.
you don't think it's a diabolical plot?
I do have people that I've met that don't believe because the problem with YouTube videos is and it's a problem with a lot of things. But one of the things about being unchecked while you're discussing things is you can say things, you can use big words, you can sound articulate and smooth, and you can do it in a very professional looking manner.
Or do it passionately.
Yes, passionately, convincingly, charismatically, and you're unchecked. But if you did that in front of an expert and you showed them that, along the way they go, stop, that's not true. Stop, that's not how it works.
There's a
Let me show you why
lot
this
of
is
paint
incorrect.
on here.
Let me show you how you can prove that this is incorrect.
I think what I'm gonna do is use it as the base and then pour this on top
Some
of
people
it
don't have any education.
for this
and then they
little
watch
jar.
all these YouTube clips. They start actually believing that this stuff makes sense because it's unchecked.
And I would say it's not about whether they've had education, it's about whether the education they had teaches them skepticism of information and teaches them how to inquire. You realize it's just as intellectually lazy to believe everything you see as it is to deny everything you see.
Yes.
Why should someone
So I'm just gonna
know
reuse this
automatically that
same
Earth
paint as
isn't
the
flat,
base for this.
yet
'Cause it's
I
a
tell
lot.
you in the next breath that the entire universe was once as small as a marble.
It's gonna be like this mauve-y.
Right? Both of those sound equally preposterous. Except one has evidence to back it, and the other does not. And very strong scientific, theoretical, and experimental underpinnings. So when you are trained to inquire, you don't either believe
It all
everything
kind of
outright or
blended
reject
together,
everything
of
outright.
course,
You're trained to ask questions.
as paint
You're
tends
trained
to
to
do.
probe deeper than the layer of information that comes to you. That's what should be taught in school. And it's not.
There's a fly flying around
They
here.
give you a book and say, learn
Better not
this,
land on my jars.
and you'll get tested on it. And then when you're done, learn this.
Well, isn't also there's a problem with being inexorably connected to your first belief. When you have an idea and it's in your head, it's very difficult for people to shake that idea, and they start arguing that idea. That idea becomes a part of their identity.
And they dig their heels in deeper
Yes.
when an opposing view is presented
Because
to
they
them.
connect themselves to these ideas.
Right.
It is who they are.
Joe Rogan's
Right,
always
and
talking about
so
connecting yourself to your ideas and
I
how you
try
shouldn't
not
do
to
that.
base my
He's right.
character profile
It's hard.
on something that is not yet
It's hard for a
verified
lot of
as objective
people.
truth.
And that's a very good thing to do.
It's one of the reasons why I don't have tattoos on my body. Holding inside. Go on, stretching my face. Go on. One of the
This is just a mason jar.
is there's nothing
Not as-
so
Whoop!
short.
Oh boy. Not as
I want
big
to
as
put
the
it
other
down
jar.
on my skin. But no, that's not. Let me say it different. There's nothing I value in my mind, body, and soul so much in this moment
I could use this
that I
as a
want
background
indelibly etched
base
on my skin.
on
'Cause
a
I want to leave
canvas. If I had like all this paint that's left
room,
over.
possibly more enlightened
Just
thought
too much left over. I don't want to waste
that
it.
would override whatever was my decision.
I'm not organized enough
And
to
since I count myself among
save
my
it
brothers,
and something
I'm
else or
learning
whatever.
stuff all the time.
I'm just setting up my spot, my space here.
I didn't know that. Oh,
I'm just feeling a little anxious
What's something you
about
learned recently?
getting
So
started.
you went,
So
"Ah."
here we are.
Okay, let me think.
So I'm gonna do the same. This is the same thing I did with the white. It's on a tilt pouring cup.
But if you're playing basketball and you're shooting, okay, and you say,
Okay.
oh, dude, land, oh my gosh,
All right. Very muddy,
Two basketballs
muddy
can fit
pink.
exactly side by side through the opening of the basketball.
Okay.
Mm.
Yes,
I guess that makes sense.
two basketballs.
Tough squeeze.
Now, it's not a cosmically mind-blowing moment, but that
Gonna go wash
gives you
these
perspective next time you
hands.
watch a basketball game. It's how these guys can fly from the foul line in an airborne slam dunk and not miss. Because the area of this opening is 4 times, you do the math, it's 4 times as large as the ball itself.
Right. Gives them different positions it could be in.
So there's multiple positions and they can still do it. So it's not that that's easy to accomplish, but knowing this, you realize how much easier it is to score than you might have otherwise thought.
I wonder if basketball.
So that was a
players-
recent revelation.
That's a good revelation.
Yeah.
I wonder if basketball players occasionally practice with a smaller hole.
I think about this all the time. I said if I was a basketball player, you don't want to practice with a heavier
Jimmy's
ball
saying yes.
because that would throw you off.
your
Yeah,
hand.
you practice with this.
Bigger ball.
Okay.
They use the bigger ball as
Yeah,
well?
use the ball. Sometimes it's almost as big as the rim.
Wait,
Alright.
is it heavier?
No.
So we have 2 awesome looking jars
It's,
so far. I'm gonna use these big ones for vases, or I'll sell them as vases.
The grip matters.
Right.
So they're repurposed jars. So that's cool. Like if that doesn't get thrown away,
In baseball, you throw
and
a faster pitch. You do
make
this,
it look
you
pretty.
That pool table.
And it's repurposed for
That pool table is
something
a very
cool.
small opening.
Now this has been marinating in here.
As opposed to a 5.5 inch. It's quite a bit different.
We're gonna see.
And so I would also, growing up, I played stickball in the street.
This is gonna be
in New
mostly
York.
black and
And so you usually
yellow, I
just do a
think.
blue
There's
handball.
some red coming out.
And so when the
Look
first
at
time you
that.
played baseball officially,
Oh,
it's
there's a
like,
little bit of
whoa,
orange
Yeah.
I've
there.
got this huge bat. And so stickball.
Look at that.
players
Completely different again.
transfer very well to
Completely
baseball
different again.
kid,
Yeah.
Because your instrument is bigger. to
Did you read
ball.
the talent code?
No,
Daniel Coyle?
no.
one of the interesting parts about it is
I
Brazilian
want to
soccer
put little
players,
spots
how
here.
good they are. And he attributes to a different game that they play with a
This is
heavier
red and
ball
white.
that they do indoors. It's a small, heavy ball,
Mm.
and because they do it in tight quarters, it
I
involves
use the end of
incredibly
this
fast
paintbrush
footwork.
that's all messed
Okay.
up. This paintbrush I used for
And then these
latex
guys
and
take
I
that
messed it
footwork
all
and
up.
movement, and it translates amazingly well to an open soccer field.
I wonder if they calculated that, because what you would do is,
There
let's say
we
the ball
go.
weighs twice as much, then it would only go half as far when you kicked it,
Mm.
so then you make the field half as large.
I didn't even have to tilt this one that much.
To reproduce almost all of the dynamics of the soccer game.
I think it was based on just trying to play a game in
Like how far you
close
can throw it
quarters.
in, over, if the ball's twice as heavy,
Mhm.
you throw it half as far, the field is half the size.
Right.
And then you have a mini game, basically.
Right,
if you do it
right. That makes sense. That
But
makes
there's a whole fun exercise you can do, playing sports on other planets with different graphics. It's a very, very fun thing to do.
If you're a dork.
You know what's funny? Occasionally I'll tweet something and people say dork.
Okay.
And I say, yeah, thanks for the compliment.
Yeah, nerd is okay. Nerd is accepted.
I'm
Nerd
taking
used
dork.
to be a bad thing.
It used to be.
Take dork.
Alright, I finally used all the paint in this little cup. I filled this cup and I got 2 big jars in a small jar.
It's like you could be a science nerd and people like it. That's like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm an old movie nerd. Like, you could say that.
Yeah, or movie geek, yeah. So
yeah.
I'm taking dork.
Okay.
I'll take it
Geek
all.
and dork and
Yeah.
nerd. Yeah.
Did I tell you? I must have told you this last time I was on your show. When I was a kid, I was bigger than other kids. I was always one of the tallest 2 kids in the class out of 30. So I was bigger than others in the day.
That's amazing. It's like almost, I barely had to do
was also
anything.
Physically fit.
That one's
physically
different.
active.
I like the
Athletic.
spots, these little
But
spots that I
was
dripped.
Squarely in the geek
I'm
camp.
gonna heat it
Okay,
up.
I had my slide rule back in the day, walking down the corridor. You know, you were also not doing it. I was happily in my high school graduation. So I was a geek person who could actually figure it out. Okay? And I saw how my fellow geeks, because that's the community that I associated with, were treated by the football program and the popular kids and the kids who were all beautiful and the ones who, and I imagined my future as a superhero, defender of the geeks.
Wow.
So that you put up a little, bat signal and a geek signal, put a few digits of pi, and I come flying in, and there's a wedgie in progress, right? I would just land, and I'd grab the bully and rip them off the encounter, and I'd just save the day. This was my superhero.
It's always the football players, right?
No, always. It's all because I think they're rewarded for
Violence.
For violence.
They also have brain damage.
As we come to
Yeah.
discover.
How fucked up is that? You find out with high school kids
Right.
that literally across the board, the majority of people who play football have CTE.
Right.
In as far down as 7th grade.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. CT reminded me that stands for
Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Encephalopathy.
dot.
Yeah. Encephalopathy. Say it like Mike Tyson. Encephalopathy.
So let me tell you that story about Christopher Columbus.
Please.
So
The dick story. We
I already told you the dick story.
Yeah.
Now let me tell you just something else.
Okay.
Okay. I think him coming to America was the most significant thing to ever happen in our species.
Whoa.
Silence.
Not internet porn?
No, that's just porn in another medium.
Right. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, internet porn is just a matter of degree, not a matter of
Yes.
does it exist or does it not.
Right.
Okay. I think it was the most significant event to happen in our species.
Kind of amazing when you stop and think about the fact that at that point in time, other than the
I like
Native
this
Americans
down
who lived
here.
here who were living a nomadic tribal existence,
Let's see.
very few people that had the wheel, that had firearms, that had all these things that had already been achieved in the rest of the world had made their way to this place.
So now watch. Okay. Here's how it works.
Right?
So you're gonna hear. So I presume that you have some skepticism of this claim, as most people would, especially the Columbus haters who are out there. Alright.
I don't really have any criticism about it, to be honest with you.
Okay, so let me describe to you why I think this is true.
Okay.
And then you can tell me whether you agree or not. Alright. We are hunter-gatherers, we haven't settled down yet, early humans. And we're basically wandering, we're following the herds, alright? And then the Ice Age hits. Well, what is an Ice Age? An Ice Age means it is so cold that when the moisture evaporates from the oceans, goes to the clouds go over the land, it doesn't rain, it snows. And the snow falls and it stays. So the water that had lifted up from the ocean does not return to the ocean. It accumulates on the land. And this accumulation, when it's significant and sustained, we call glaciers. Glaciers is not itself a snowfall, it is compressed snow that's basically changed state into this ice river that flows very slowly back to the ocean. But the oceans are getting drained faster than they're getting replenished. So during the Ice Age, the ocean levels dropped, exposing the Bering Strait land bridge between Asia and what is now Alaska, basically North America. Our ancestors who come out of Africa go into Europe, some stayed, others kept wandering. Some stayed low above the Mediterranean, others went high. They populate Asia. They keep walking because there's a land bridge there. They don't even know it's a bridge, it's just more land. So they walk, and they enter North America. And from there, that's kind of the only way you can go is south at that point. The weather gets a little better. The Ice Age ends. The glaciers melt back into the oceans. The ocean levels rise, closing the land bridge, stranding a branch of the human species for 10,000 years. Those humans who made it across that land bridge and spread out into North America, Central America, South America, have only a few families as their parent genetic origin. Okay? It's like, some research says it's like 8 family lineages populated the entire North and South American continents. Then the land bridge breaks. Now you have Europe, Asia, Africa, and North and South America, and they know nothing of one another. 2 separate branches of the human species. The Vikings notwithstanding, maybe they came over, they didn't, even if they did, their influence was near zero relative to the Europeans.
I'm not talking a lot, huh? Oh well. I don't know. This is mesmerizing.
This is why the species on Australia, that's why you have mammals there that have pouches. Alright? No other mammals.
Trying to see if it's all covered,
split
but
off,
like.
and they evolved their own way. Okay. So 10,000 years is not enough to grow 3 heads or, 12 fingers. But our species is separate. Now, Columbus crosses the Atlantic, makes contact with humans. This is the first time that has happened in 10,000 years. We have rejoined 2 branches of the human species.
I really don't
We
want,
are now
I don't want to get rid of that red
common
spot.
genetic group. And that genetic crossbreeding now continues to this day. We fly to any corner of the world and mate, okay? And the mating already began immediately. Yes, there were diseases that Columbus brought to North America, much written about that. Less written is that he brought syphilis back to Europe. First cases of syphilis in 1492.
Whoa.
And then it
They got
skyrocketed.
syphilis from the Native Americans?
Yes.
What, did they have no problem with it?
Well, I don't know the details of how the physiology of the natives
Huh.
dealt with that, or whether it mutated. And there may be people who know that. I'm not among them.
That's fascinating.
But just look at the graph of reported syphilis cases in Europe. It all began in 1492 when he came back.
Whoa.
So what I'm saying is, this was a hugely significant event. The rejoining of the branches of the human species.
Well, yeah, no, I would imagine that makes sense. That is the most important thing.
And by the way, Native Americans, you know, this famous, infamous problem with metabolizing alcohol, okay, with Native Americans. You know who else has that problem? The Chinese.
They do?
Yes,
Really?
yes, yes.
So it's an Asian issue.
Well, so who stayed in so you look at who populated North and South America after before the land bridge. It's whoever was right at the edge of Asia.
Right.
Then the land bridges. So Asians and North American and the natives of North and South America have more in common with each other because of this than most other pairs of groups you might grab around the world. But my point is, obviously, there's a lot to blame Columbus for, but he just happened to be the guy who did it first. Europe was coming to the New World no matter what. Everybody was trying to find a faster trade route to the Indies. And so if it wasn't Columbus, it would have been Arnold Schmetnik, whatever, doesn't matter. Somebody did that. And the rest is, as they say, history.
Wow.
So personally, I think it's the most significant thing to happen in our species.
All right.
Otherwise, we'd still be two-stranded branches of humans.
It would be fascinating, though, like Australia to strand, just to see
Yeah.
what would happen if this has gone on for
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of years.
If 100,000, that would have been.
I'm
a
so
different story.
dizzy.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
And your
I guess it's
immunity would be
vertigo.
different,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the big concern about aliens, right? One of the big concerns is that there's some sort of a virus that you pick up from someone.
Okay,
I
so
think that's
I need to.
harder
Mhm.
to
I guess I'm just
accept.
gonna let
So, for
this
example,
sit, and then I'll peel it
what are
all
the
off.
chances that a
Let that
oak
sit in
tree
there, I
would
guess.
catch whooping cough?
Not so good.
Not so good. We're two different species. So viruses tend to be very species targeted.
Yeah, but what about?
Well, no, they can jump species.
I'm gonna
They
take
can jump species, but
gloves off.
so there's a jump mammal to mammal, there's a jump vertebrate to vertebrate.
Mhm.
But so yes, that can happen. But the more
Alright.
different the life form is, it is sensible to suppose that the less likely to occur the thing. But massive survival will still cause infection. That we can do that to that. So there's a temperature infection. So the whole division. It's protected birth from blood that's produced from the face.
I don't know if making cells on these ones is worth it or not.
From us.
I don't know what you can see, but here.
We evoke. The Cassini spacecraft. We plunged that back into Saturn in its death when we were done with it and ran out of money. We're done with it. Plunged into Saturn to vaporize. We didn't leave
This
it
is
in orbit
the
around
other
Saturn.
one.
Why? Because it might have crashed.
It is so hard. Let me see if I can.
One might have life.
It is.
And if someone had sneezed on the spacecraft before it got launched,
Look at that.
we don't want to contaminate the life that we were later going to one day.
All from the same pour cup.
So that's why we plunged it into Saturn.
That's why?
That is why.
Because they were worried about like maybe it hitting Europa or
Once
something?
it's dead and you can't
All from the
track it
same
or
pour
guide
cup.
it anymore,
The black and red
then
one's
it's
pretty
a
awesome, huh?
It's a wild card.
I wish there was more yellow in it. Then by the time I got to the yellow,
There are other
it started turning green. See, there's some red back here.
And
So the concern is that we would introduce life.
The cells are kind of cool, but I don't know if I like them.
go back later and
like
find
that,
life and
you know?
Just like here. What was it, our life that
I
we
don't
just
know.
created with? So you don't want to confuse the future science of it. So that's the plan.
Can you even watch a science movie, like science fiction movies? I know you had a real problem with gravity, but
Yeah, all right. So let me set the record straight here. Okay. Let me just go on record.
Okay.
Okay. I've been deeply misunderstood with my comments on movies. Deeply misunderstood. Deeply. And so. I
Pretty
just
cool,
thought-
huh? Look at that little string of white right there. Just a tiny little string.
I kind of just thought.
Was it the Matthew McConaughey movie? Did you comment on that one?
Oh, 3 jars down.
Yeah. That's the last one I commented